without further ado, I want to introduce you to Otis. Everybody, give him a hand.
All right, everybody stand up. Let's go. Up, 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 up. Raise your hands. Put your right hand down if you don't want to step into a room and own it.
Kaboom!
Now take your left hand and shake it in the air if you want to step into a room, own it, and not be that arrogant asshole. All right, everybody sit down, please. Hey, I'd like to thank my good buddy Rob. He's right. Yeah, business relationships do not work unless you like the person. So, Rob, thank you. Thank you for putting this together, bringing these great business leaders here together and giving me the opportunity to share a little bit about what I know. My name is Otis McGregor. I have an amazing life. I consider myself very lucky and fortunate to be at this point in my life. I've been married to my beautiful Texas bride for 37 years. We've got 3 great kids, 1 grandson, 2 more on the way. I live in an awesome home just south of here in the trees and the mountains. I have a business that I own with my wife. I have another business that is going to save lives, and a third business that's going to change the world. I'm fortunate enough to work with my youngest son and do a co-host a podcast with him each and every week. I also know that the best whiskey and cigars are shared with friends. It's amazing how much better they taste. But it wasn't always this way for me. I was that kid in high school who sat in the back. I never even tried to call shotgun with my buddies because I didn't think I needed it. I didn't think I should be the one riding up front. And even when I got up front in the car, because it was my truck, because I was the only one that had gas, I was still along for the ride. Where do y'all want to go? What do y'all want to do? I went to Texas A&M. I was in the Corps of Cadets, a leadership academy, 4 years in a leadership academy. I was still along for the ride. I was a consensus leader is what I like to call it. I sat in the position. I said, hey, what do y'all think we ought to do? I don't know. What do you think? It wasn't until I was a lieutenant in Alaska in charge of my engineer platoon, this one exercise called Brimfrost we did every year in January, because there's no better time to be outside in Alaska than January. The temperatures had gone from 40 below to 60 below. And if you don't know what happens at 60 below, because we were engineers with hydraulics and steel snaps like toothpicks. Hydraulics explode because the rubber gaskets have contracted so much. But my guys were determined to accomplish the mission. They were like, we got this, sir. We're going on. We're going to clear the roads because the exercise is coming. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. I was like, man. And I thought for a minute and I said, all right, I got to change. This is the moment where I have to step into it. I have to lead. And I can't say, well, what do you think, Sergeant Gates? What do you think, Sergeant Jones? I had to make a decision. I had to step into it with command presence and own the decision. I had to use my self-awareness, understanding who I am. Show up as Otis, or Lieutenant McGregor, really. Show up as Lieutenant McGregor and own that moment and said, you know what, fellas? That's great. Shut it down, park it, get in the tents. It's time to go into survival mode. When the temperature bumps up to a balmy minus 30 degrees, we'll get back to it. That moment changed my life. That was where I started to step into every situation and own every situation as a leader. Not just along for the ride. Yeah, I still take input. But I drive the direction that I want to go. I drive that. I took that moment and I've lived it ever since into my life as a Green Beret, as a business owner, entrepreneur, as a father and a husband and a friend. That moment changed me and it allowed me to make a difference. Now, each of you here, business leaders, business owners, entrepreneurs, whatever label or name tag you want to wear, you need to lead better. Leadership is the number one failure in every business. Look at every business. Every business that's ever filed for bankruptcy or shut down is shut down because they did not lead. Because leaders solve problems. Leaders believe that they can do it. And when they believe that, they show up with that command presence. They step into the room, they step into the problem set, and they say, I got this. I will fix this. That's what you can do. There's 3 pieces to having command presence and owning it. Number 1, self-awareness. You got to know who you are. You got to know how you show up, how you allow things to affect you, things that are out of your control. What do they do to you? Because you know what? It's all your choice. I always love to say, you can be happy that you're stuck in traffic on I-25, and you can be pissed off that somebody put sprinkles on your ice cream. That's self-awareness, knowing those things. That's number 1. Number 2, authentic. You have to show up as yourself. You can't fake it till you make it. We joke about that all the time. Fake it till you make it. That's BS. You got to be you. You know what? There's this survival instinct in our head, our caveman instinct, that senses it. Yes. And if somebody's up here faking it, you know it. And it's like, oh, let me check my phone. What's on TikTok? Ooh, yeah. All right? That's where you go. You shut them off because they're faking it. So you got to show up as your authentic self. And when you have those two, you can own the moment physically. Now, I don't care whether you're big, small, whatever. The physical presence, how you step into a room, is powerful. You know, Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules for Life, his first rule for life is to stand up straight with your shoulders back. You know why? I'll give you the physical, the knuckle dragger. I'm no doctor. The knuckle dragger physical understanding of that. When my shoulders are back and my head is up, I've got airflow.
Yes.
My lungs are at full capacity. When my lungs are at full capacity, I'm getting all the oxygen into my bloodstream. And when I've got all the oxygen in my bloodstream, it's all going to my brain. And now my brain is at fully functioning. That's what you have to do. When you show up and you step into that room, you have an understanding of who you are, how you allow things into your life and have an effect on you or not. You show up as yourself and you walk in with the authority and presence, with your shoulders back and your head up high, you will own that moment. And it all equals command presence. We had Stacy Hankey on our podcast earlier this week, come out next week. Stacy talks about executive presence. And it was really interesting to get her perspective on it, and they're the same. She calls it some different words, just like executive presence versus command presence. But it's the same thing. You got to show up like you own the place, but not be an arrogant asshole.
Yes.
Leadership, Rob said this a couple of times, leadership is the key to success. But leadership is a skill that must be honed, refined, and practiced each and every day. You must look for ways to grow and develop that skill so that you can own the moment, so that you can show up with the confidence and that command presence, and everybody around you senses it. I'll give you a challenge rest of the day and tomorrow. Each achieved person that comes in the room, talks, watch their command presence. Everybody's different. I've got a different command presence than Rob. I've got a different one than Tammy. But every one of us, if we're going to be successful, has to have that command presence. Now, I'm going to pass around my little sign-up sheets here, or actually I'm going to hand them to you, and I'm going to let you pass them around. What I'd like for you to do Go ahead and fill it out. It's fairly self-explanatory. Name, email, phone number. Do me a really big favor. If you write like my oldest son, ask somebody else to write.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. What I'm going to offer you is a leadership audit for you and your team. So fill that out. Get it back to me when I wrap this up. I appreciate it.
You don't understand. Something like this, to get a leadership audit with a leader like this, is sick. So don't let this slip. Everybody in this room, get this leadership audit, please.
One more thing I want to share with you. My purpose, because I always want to share this with whenever I get the opportunity, because my purpose is what drives me. My purpose is to create a legacy of leaders, because I believe great leaders create great organizations. And when we have great organizations in our community, like the Achieve community, we have better communities. And when we have better communities around the world, we'll have a better world. That is the thing that gets me up every morning, through all the aches and pains, through all the frustrations, and drives me forward. And I'd just like to ask one thing of y'all. If you'd like to join me in creating that legacy of leaders, make sure you talk to me. Fill that thing out. Give me your contact info, because I'd love to help you become a great leader.
And everybody in this room, if you are reacting and working and displaying yourself in your company as a leader, what happens? The second, many years ago, when I stepped in, to the shoes, and I was confident in everything blew up immediately. Once I had on the confidence in everything I offered, and I into my shoes of reacting as a actual leader, I was in it. I was all in, and income was easy. That is why working with somebody like an Otis is so important.
What's in the leadership audit?
I'm going to take you through. We've got 6 C's. Don't ask me to remember them right now. 6 C's. That is our quick assessment. I'm going to look at what's your leadership development plan for yourself and your team. Those are the 2 main pieces.
What if
Yep.
you don't have a team or a leader?
Everybody has a team.
Everybody has a team.
Everybody has a team.
Okay,
This is your team.
okay,
Right here.
okay.
And that is where everybody screws up, is everybody's like, I'm just an independent business owner. Well, you're an independent business owner for a reason, because you've created that in your own mind.
Right.
And you need to form the actual team that is going to help you kick ass. It isn't about, I'm going to hire you and I'm going to bring you in as an employer, so on. Creating an actual team is the people who you're surrounding yourself with, who are helping you kick ass.
Any other questions?
All right, everybody.
Thank you, Rob.